Welcome to Vedic Counsellor, where ancient Vedic wisdom meets modern scientific insight.
Hey, welcome. So let's start with a question. What if addiction wasn't just a habit or even a psychological issue, but something much deeper, maybe even a kind of cosmic entanglement? Today, we're going to explore a really unique perspective on alcohol addiction, one that comes from the ancient system of Vedic astrology. And it frames this whole challenge as a pretty profound karmic journey. You know, in Vedic astrology, which is also called Jyotish, there's actually a specific term for liquor addiction, madhyapan. And it's not just a name. It defines the problem as a serious karmic affliction, something that affects the mind and the senses on a deep level. So from this point of view, the roots of the problem go way beyond simple choice, tying directly into a person's spiritual path and their past actions, or karma. So what's the main driver behind this karmic issue? Well, this framework points the finger squarely at a powerful and honestly mysterious force known as Rahu. Now, in Vedic astrology, Rahu isn't a planet you can just look up and see in the sky. It's what's called a shadow planet, basically a calculated point in space that represents obsession, deep illusion, and an almost unquenchable thirst for intoxicating things. So to really get our heads around this, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at the specific planetary triggers that are said to cause addiction. Then, we'll dive into the Vedic remedies that are designed to counteract those triggers. And finally, we'll pull it all together and see how this framework looks at the whole struggle as a journey of overcoming a huge illusion. All right, let's get into it. First up, the planetary triggers. We're going to look at the very specific astrological combinations that are believed to create a predisposition for addiction. And this is where the theory gets super specific about how these cosmic influences can actually show up in someone's life. And the interactions here are really, really specific. For example, when Rahu has an influence on the moon, which in astrology rules our mind and our emotions, it can create these deep emotional voids, which can lead to compulsive drinking just to escape. Or if Rahu messes with Venus, the planet of pleasure, it can twist healthy enjoyment into an obsessive need. The framework also looks at where Rahu is in a birth chart, like if it's in the 5th house, which can warp the sense of fun and sometimes even point to a family history of addiction. Let's just double-click on our key player here for a second, Rahu. So it's the north node of the moon, and again, it's not a physical thing, but a mathematical point where the moon's orbit crosses the sun's path. In astrology, this spot is seen as this vortex of karmic energy, representing all those things, obsession, illusion, and these really intense, hard-to-control urges. And honestly, getting a handle on Rahu is the key to this whole perspective. Where these planets are placed is also a huge deal. If Rahu is in what's called the 12th house, that's an area of the chart tied to hidden things and losses. It can signal secret addictions. And then another major player gets involved, Saturn. See, where Rahu brings the obsession, Saturn comes in and adds this layer of heaviness and chronicity. It's what makes the habit long-term and just so hard to break. And depending on the planetary mix, you get different kinds of behaviors. A Mars-Rahu combination, for instance, can add aggression and impulsivity into the mix, which might lead to things like binge drinking. Then there's this very specific astrological condition called Kimadruma Yoga, which basically means the moon is all alone in the chart, totally unsupported. This can create this profound inner loneliness. And when Rahu affects that, it can lead a person to try and fill that void with alcohol. Okay, so if those are the astrological problems, what are the solutions? Well, that brings us to part 2, the Vedic remedies. And this isn't just one or two things. It's a whole toolkit of spiritual practices, with each one designed to specifically push back against these challenging planetary energies and support recovery. The first line of defense is all about sound and vibration. Chanting specific mantras is a huge part of the practice. So there's one chant to directly calm down Rahu's obsessive energy, another one to help break Saturn's long-term grip, and a third one to call on the fierce protective energy of the goddess Durga to find the strength to just shatter the addiction's hold. Next up, we have devotional practices. Worshipping the deity Hanuman is recommended for building what's described as unbreakable willpower. And then there are prayers to Lord Ganesha. He's known as the removal of obstacles, right? So the idea is to pray to him to help clear the path to recovery. But it's not all purely spiritual. There are physical actions involved too. Fasting on Saturdays, which is the day ruled by Saturn, is meant to build discipline and purify the body. And then there's charity, or dawn, which is seen as a way to actively release some of that karmic weight. This means donating very specific things associated with Rahu and Saturn to sort of energetically calm their influence. Now, this is really interesting. The source also points to using gemstones, specifically the Gomen, or Hessonite stone, which is tied directly to Rahu. But, and this is a huge but, it comes with a major warning. You should only wear one after a really detailed horoscope analysis by an expert astrologer to make sure it's actually the right move for you. Of course, mindfulness is another huge piece of the puzzle. Things like daily pranayama, which are conscious breathing exercises, are used to calm the whole nervous system. That's usually paired with meditation and visualization. The approach even extends to your home, suggesting you install a Rahu yantra, which is a sacred geometric symbol, to create what's described as a protective shield against those addictive urges. And for those who are ready to go all in, the framework lays out a special 40 days spiritual discipline, or sadhana. This is pretty intense. It combines several of the daily mantras into one focused ritual that has to be done for 40 days straight without missing a single day. It's really presented as the advanced, super committed path to finding profound and lasting freedom. So how do we wrap our heads around all this? Well, the most crucial takeaway here isn't just a list of triggers and fixes. It's a whole new way to think about the struggle, not as some kind of personal failure, but as a spiritual battle to overcome a really powerful illusion. This quote right here really just captures the entire idea perfectly. The thought that addiction is a deep karmic illusion created by Rahu. I mean, think about that. It's a powerful reframe. It suggests that the craving isn't the real you. It's just an illusion that's been layered on top of your consciousness. An illusion that can be dissolved with spiritual practice and real effort. Okay, and it is absolutely vital to highlight this last point from the source material. These astrological and spiritual remedies are meant to be a complementary path. They are designed to be used alongside professional medical and psychological support. They are not, and I repeat, not a replacement for expert care, but an extra layer of support for getting back to health and well-being. So this leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Whatever your personal beliefs are, this ancient way of looking at things challenges us to ask, what if freedom from our toughest habits doesn't just come from fighting the symptoms, but from understanding the deeper cosmic patterns that are playing out inside our own personal universe? Thanks for watching.
If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel Vedic Counselor. For personal astrology consultation, horoscope analysis, or Vastu consultation, you can contact us on WhatsApp 919219539215 or visit our website www.vediccounselor.com. Thank you for watching.